Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, boys and girls, it's Emmy Awards winning season, and, well, the conversations we're having are just blazing up. And guess what? If you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean that you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast where we sit down with a wide ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals and we pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and in a conversational fashion. And if you like how we do things around here, I will go out on a limb and assume that you do, because let's face it, you're listening right now. And if you are, please keep listening and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, gives you a 5-star rating on your podcast provider of choice. We're available pretty much everywhere. Places like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, and plus we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe there as well, we'd absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, the Letterboxd, the TikTok, the Threads, the Blue Sky. I'm losing track, but we're at a bunch of places at In the Seats for a bunch of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca for all the latest and greatest in the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because guess what? If we like to watch it and write about it and talk about it, we love it all that much more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please do us that kindness. Come on by and pay us a visit. On this episode, we're in the thick of Emmy Award season, and we're diving into Chef's Table and looking at some of the stuff going on there. And we're talking with the executive producer, Danny O'Malley, who just got a nomination for Outstanding Documentary or Non-Fiction Series. He's an interesting guy. He started as a story producer, worked his way up to exec producer, and I mean he's kind of the engine that makes it all tick. Because I mean, Chef's Table has evolved from this one show into these multiple shows, and we got to talk to Danny about this and just sort of the evolution of not just this show, but just sort of the idea of doc series and filmmaking and how it goes beyond, like something like Chef's Tables goes beyond the plate, as it were. It tries to give us some more insight into the people and just sort of why they do what they do, and just the art of producing in general. And I mean, it was fun talking to Danny because I really got some interesting insight on all this. And it's one of those things where you never quite appreciate sort of the nuance that goes into a show like this until you really break it down and appreciate it. And I think Danny is a real big part of that. But like I said, he just got nominated for an Emmy. We're cheer him on. Chef's Table has seemingly been going forever, and it still will go in its various iterations. But enjoy our talk with Danny O'Malley as we talk Chef's Table, because it's a good one. Officially, man, congrats on the nomination and just sort of what is seemingly a lifetime with Chef's Table.
Oh, thank you. It has felt like more than one lifetime, but I don't know, it's really exciting to still be here 10 years in and seemingly defying gravity in the entertainment industry. Like so many things get 3 seasons and somehow we just keep coming back, and just the opportunity to do this creative work with so many people nonstop and travel the world, taste delicious food, and share stories that people really resonate with is like, what else can I ask for?
No, I mean, I guess my first question is like, walk me through how you got your foot in the door. Because I mean, just to be able to talk to someone who, I mean, getting your foot in the door on a show is one thing, but being able to grow and evolve with a show like you have is kind of rare.
Yeah, so essentially, like I've had this career trajectory where whenever I'm in the right place, I tend to rise, and then when I'm in the wrong place, I tend to suffer greatly. And my 20s was a lot of that. At some point, I had a job with one of my friends. They got me where I was burning DVDs at a place called Overture Films, and the whole idea was back in the day when you send a talk show host screener of the film, you need to burn in their name on the screen of the DVD. So if it leaks, you know who took it. And I thought I was doing quite good at the job. I was like looking for new ways to improve how to do things, but I was not. And there were some times where trying to improve things was the wrong thing to do, and I'd screw something up in the process of straying away from what they told me to do. And then I'd get in trouble with like the guy coming to pick up the DVD has to wait in the lobby for 2 hours, and I wasn't good at being communicative. So all these things just added up to one day someone came into my office and was like, "How do you think it's going here?" And I was like, "I think I'm getting the hang of it." And she was like, "Well, you're not." And my friend who got me the job was like, "She's very upset and she doesn't know what to do." And she's like, "I think it's best that you leave." And I was like, this was my first steady job with a good paycheck in the industry. And I was just heartbroken. And I was like, "Can I think about it?" And she was like, "Yeah, sure. Think about it." And basically, she's like, "You're gonna be gone." So I ended up next day coming in and being like, "I thought about it. Okay, I'll put in my 2 weeks notice." So I was taking piano lessons at the time. That led to um, the piano teacher. I told her, I am going to be out of a job. I don't know if I can do piano lessons. And she was currently working with a band called The Rentals, which was fronted by Matt Sharp from Weezer. And she was like, "Well, we're working on this project called Songs About Time where we make videos every week and we always need editors. Can you do it?" So I jumped onto that. And then for like $250 a week, I was editing videos for this band, which led to me working for the band Tegan and Sarah on their documentary. And that eventually got nominated for a Grammy. And through that work and other stuff I was doing for free, I got introduced to Abby Fuller, who was directing a movie called Do You Dream in Color. That Abby later became a director on Chef's Table, but working on that as an editor led to me being introduced to Boardwalk Pictures. So, like, once I got in a groove of things where my work resonated, I got recommended to other things, and then I got recommended to Boardwalk, ended up on their first show, and then I was kind of rising in the ranks from assistant editor to story producer at Boardwalk, and when Chef's Table came along, I was one of the two Boardwalk story producers that were put on it. And I think all my experience kind of put me in the right place in the right time where I became very useful to making the show's storytelling really work. And then from there, I kind of uh, expanded out and got more responsibilities. Suddenly, I was training people to do what I was doing. Eventually, I wasn't doing the story producing myself, and I was just running a lot of the creativity and post. And just the more I thrive, the more people are like, "Okay, we'll just give them more to do." And then I try not to burn out from taking too much on. So.
Well, it's a nice shift from them, from you knowing that you're good at your job to sort of try to discover if you're good at your job. And obviously, just before I ask the next question, shout out to Tegan and Sarah just because they're Canadian. I'm Canadian too, so got to give them some love. There's something about Chef's Table that really stands out to me because obviously, cooking shows are a dime a dozen, let's face it. But it feels like on Chef's Table, it's more than just sort of you know, the region or the cuisine. It really feels like it dives into sort of the individuals and their sort of personal motivations. Can you talk to me a little bit about sort of the process of research on a show like this? Because again, it's those extra layers that I think make this show special.
Yeah, so I think like most of the credit for the casting goes to Brian McGinn. He is now almost like a James Bond-like figure in the food world where he's always traveling. People have him gives speeches to give out awards, and all the chefs know him. Everyone is trying to stuff him with food to get on the show. So he's infiltrated that world to where the stories come to him, he seeks them out, he's obsessed with it and really cares about it in a way that makes sense that he's the one doing it on the show because he's constantly doing it, he's constantly searching. And then he brings those stories to me once he's got like, we got 6 chefs to make a season. We're trying to get it down to 4. Which ones do you think? And from there, we either start our research process through kind of taking everything that's public about the chef, putting it in one centralized document, which usually consists of like a Wikipedia of what is the restaurant about, what is the region about, all that kind of stuff, like famous dishes, all that. And then above it is just a timeline of their life. So if they mention in an interview once that like my grandma used to cook this dish, we're like, okay, we need to learn more about what that dish means to the culture, to him. And as we kind of draw out the stories, um, we find these things where we go deeper and deeper, and soon we're talking to the chefs about it or talking to people in their lives about it. And then we have this kind of robust roadmap that we build our shoot out of.
How quickly do these seasons come together? Because I mean, again, we're out of the traditional realm of the quote unquote TV season, and it does feel like in many ways there's probably a lot of pressure on you to sort of get her done, especially like if it's a question of, okay, here's our idea, here are our 6 chefs, we've got 3 months, go.
Yeah. So essentially the way it tends to work is our seasons get ordered in batches and they
Yeah.
get announced one by one. So the last 3 seasons, the Legend season, Noodle season, and Chef's Table, that is like one season in my mind
Oh,
because
really? Okay. Okay.
it's basically you start production and then I work for like anywhere between 11 and 13 months straight, um, getting all the shoots ready, working on the
Wow.
creative, then rolling through post. And it just kind of cascades where we start one and a little later we start another, a little later. And there's always just these parts where it piles up in a really unruly way. And then it's, days where I work. I think the most I've worked deeply on in one day was 6 episodes.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
um, there's certain people on the show that are dedicated to a specific episode, and then there are people like me, Brian McGinn, Michael Hilliard, some of the other producers, Drew Palombi, and who are kind of like across all seasons, all series, and we tend to get squeezed a little harder in the process because of that.
How do the offshoots get inspired? Because I mean, obviously, I mean, like you said, it all kind of runs together for you. But when I see it, and then I'll see, okay, France, they're going to focus on France, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, noodles, oh,
Yeah.
pizza.
I think the way it generally shakes out, and I'm not a part of all of these discussions, but usually what we found was at some point the idea of doing these theme seasons became something that punched through on Netflix a little bit.
Mm.
Um, So I think Netflix has been curious for other ways we could do it, and Brian and I kind of look at the potential seasons and talk about what would be good and which stories fit a season that we can do the whole thing. And sometimes, you know, things really pop and feel iconic, and sometimes they don't, like Chef's Table sandwiches. We could probably make a great series out of, but
Yeah.
something about that doesn't quite work the way pizza does or barbecue, which I
Right,
think
right, right.
the cultural arguments over the best slice of pizza or the best barbecue are much more loaded than the best sandwich arguments, right? So I think there's some I know it when I see it quality to whether a theme feels iconic enough that we get excited about it.
Love it, love it. Now, I mean, I'm curious because obviously, like you've come up through the show as like an EP, an editor, leading research, doing all that stuff. But you've directed a couple episodes as well. Like, was that
Mhm.
something you had to fight for, something you wanted to do, or was it a question of no one knows this topic better than Danny, he's going to do it?
Um, I think with I mean, part of it is just I was always a director, like going
Right.
back to
Okay.
film school. Um, and then a lot of it had to do with just like for a while I had enough to do. Like I basically am full on every episode managing a team of 3 or 4 people per episode and doing everything from managing the string outs, which is like the edits of just the interview that are the storytelling, to the edits, to what the director's looking to accomplish and something's not quite working, to some directors are like, I don't know how to talk about music with the composer. Can you help me solve this?
Right.
So
Right. Right.
my job is kind of like to fill in any gaps. So if a team is strong at these things, my job is to be the other thing. So it's fun for me because I like to do a lot of different things, but it also doesn't leave a lot of time for directing. So in the more recent seasons, I've just been wanting to expand more and do more now that I've got the other stuff a little more under control. So I can at least direct episodes before we get to post. So the first episode that we shoot or the second episode are usually the options that are available to me because once we're in post, I just get buried in chef stories.
Now I gotta ask, you have any good foodie stories? 'Cause, I mean, I got to imagine on a show like this, there would be situations where you're, having a pizza at night with tomato sauce on it that somebody picked the tomatoes on in the morning, kind of thing. There are. I got to imagine you've got some unique experiences when it comes to sort of your relationship with food.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them. So like, uh, there's one that was really memorable was when I've directed the episode in Portland for the pizza season.
Okay.
We went to the farm where she gets these very specific tomatoes that this farmer Anthony grows, and his wife and him live on the farm. So we went there. She often cooks pizzas there with the ingredients straight from the farm. So we went, and normally they do a patio by the house, and we had this idea of like setting up a table in the middle of the cornfield, or the wheat field. I forget which one it was, but uh, during sunset. So we set up this pizza. We had her like sommelier friend there, and we were serving pizzas to everybody after filming her cooking those pizzas at this like rustic oven at the house. And after the shoot was done, sun goes down. There's no more light, but there's pizza and there's wine. So the whole crew got to have pizza and wine. And um, a lot of them had to wrap eventually because of union rules. So they had to head
Right.
back to the hotel. I ended up staying with our producer, Hamina, in on the farm. And we also learned that Anthony got a diagnosis of cancer. And so there was this like emotional weight to the experience.
Oh,
And his wife read all these poems of like that she wrote about life on the farm with Anthony. And it was just this moment where I didn't really know who these people were until I worked on this project. And then suddenly I was thrust into this incredibly unique experience where we got to connect with them deeply. We got to put their work, um, as a part of the show so people could see it. And it was just a really special moment that I'll just like never forget. You're standing there and you're just like, how is this my life? You know, some people go to work and they punch in, they're in a cubicle, and somehow this is where I am. It's just incredible.
Well, I mean, I've got to imagine, just from your perspective, being able to interact with these people and get these uniquely personal stories is very much a creative boon for you, just to keep you going and keep you engaged. Because I mean, again, that's to me the magic of documentary and doc series. You know, you're getting these genuine stories rather than sort of trying to, manufacture one.
Yeah, and I think to me that's the whole thing. Like I'm a very, very like I love people like too much.
Yeah,
Like I have too many friends. I like I'm hurt that I can't keep up with everybody the way I want and see them all the time. Even everyone we work with. I like have made lifelong friendships on the show, and there's people I can just hang out with and talk for hours about work, about life, about any of it. And I'm just been lucky to be introduced to all these people. So basically, I think a lot of what the work I gravitate to and I like doing is like an extension of that, where you're really getting to know someone and who they are. And to your point about like dramatizing
yeah, yeah,
things,
yeah.
like I think a lot of shows go, this is what the story is, this is what the script is, this is what the format is, this is what you're going to talk about. Now let's send people there to talk to them. And that comes with this idea that Hollywood knows best what is dramatic or intriguing or interesting about these people. But when you actually reach out to them, the stuff you know about them is more the backdrop of this deeper, more personal story. And I think what a lot of people miss is that um, real life dramatizes itself,
Yeah.
right? Like dramatization in a script is um, two competing forces, like a sheriff that's afraid of the water and a shark that's killing all the people he's supposed to protect. And those two things are now at odds, and you have Jaws. And the saga is born of those two kind of forces coming to a head.
Yeah,
It ends with him in the water after defeating the shark.
of course,
And
yeah.
like so life's the same way. When you take someone who's out of balance, and a lot of people who are the best at what they do are extremely out of balance, there's friction that comes from life, whether it's like Chris Bianco in our pizza season, being around the pizza ovens, giving him lung issues, so he's got to stop being the cook, or like uh, Norman Sakib in this season, who are trying to live their values while working in an industry that doesn't support their values. So that's like two things that clash, and it inherently is dramatic. So the way a lot of people think about it is like car crashes are dramatic, explosions are dramatic, like bigger things are dramatic, but really the thing that drives drama is a personal thing to a character, and that's why you can watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, and the most like the signal that you're going to get a great episode is someone saying, "Hey Larry, can you do me a favor?" Because like we know who Larry is, and you know a favor is the worst thing that can happen to
Of
Larry.
course, yeah, yeah.
Like it's worse than death. So that approach really like is born out of my natural like curiosity. I want to know and understand people, but it's also the approach that all movies and this whole town was built on. So to me, when I see people doing other things, it seems strange because like if you're writing a feature film, you don't go, okay, host on screen says, "Here we are, everybody, at this place." You like go into a world, you meet a character, and then you put that character through friction until like something sparks. And um, that's what we do.
And you know what? I think that's why Chef Table still speaks to people because I really feel like there's a parallel between sort of the people that you talk to and the ideals of the show and understanding sort of, none of the chefs that you talk to, go shopping at Costco. It's food sourcing, it's understanding supply and demand and, table of plate and all that kind of thing. And from an emotional standpoint, you guys are kind of doing the same thing. It's organic, it's natural, nothing is well, out of a can, as it were.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think at the end of the day, that's why this show really does work.
Well, we've been high on the chef's supply. Like, there's only so much you can cut up a bunch of people talking about doing things the long way, the hard
Right,
way, the
right, right,
old
right.
way, the seeking perfection, raising the bar, that you don't start to see their point. Because, like, you see what these people are able to do when they commit to those values. And I think a lot of the people who work on this show are all people committed to those values, like Adam Bricker and Will Basanta, our DPs. Like, I'm always blown away by what they bring back, and it's always something that fits the show but brings something new to the table. And uh just the way all the people that we work with, and I should also name Matt Chavez, who worked on my episode this season. But like, all these people are striving to be the best, to push the limits of what this stuff can do, while also remembering why we do it and what it's for. So it doesn't, like, these chefs still have to feed people and give people an experience that gives them an emotion they'll remember and is satisfying. So we really try and strike that balance between pushing all our limits while giving the audience the thing they come to our show for, which I think is that inspiring, emotional story that they can watch and either relate it to their own lives or feel like they've taken something with them.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, in this day and age where, 3 seasons is a hit and you move on, to be able to last as long as you guys have with such uniquely emotional and personal stories, I think is a fantastic thing. I mean, honestly, Danny, congrats on the Emmy nod and just thank you again so much for the time today. I really appreciate it. And the insight on the show as well.
Oh, thanks for having me, and all these questions were great, and it's
Oh, thank you very much. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
all right.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.